My father is a white immigrant from Poland, and he committed crimes, and he's fine now. So
did he go to jail?
Yeah, he did.
I thought there was systemic racism. I thought that doesn't happen very much.
People who are white are more likely to be given loans because of like they have less.
You're making excuses for criminals.
Yeah,
and what?
This girl was not ready for Charlie Kirk.
But don't you think that like there's a reason that a lot of the black community doesn't have a father, and it's because of systemic racism. It's because like black men are more likely to be in prison.
Oh yeah, so why do people go to prison?
For like a lot of the time it's because they're in poverty and they have no other way to get.
Okay, so they commit crimes.
Because
Yeah, but so wait, so wait.
Why do they
So wait, if you're
commit crimes?
So in poverty, we should give excuses for committing crimes?
Yes, because if they have no
like murder?
I did not say murder. I'm saying like if someone is stealing something because they have no money and there's no jobs.
That's so interesting. So you think most crimes are crimes of necessity in the black community? I'm
not saying most.
So like gangbanging is like a crime of necessity?
That I literally never said that. I'm saying
But you're making an argument of crimes of necessity. Like they're so hungry they can't handle it.
I'm talking about like crime that has to do with like getting food, getting stuff that you need to live.
Right, but we have food stamps for anyone that needs it. So that doesn't exist. We have subsidized housing for anyone that needs it, so that doesn't exist. We have free health care for any poor person that wants it, called Medicaid, that doesn't exist. We also have welfare, cash, for anyone that wants it, so that doesn't exist. So what is it they're missing that they need to go, sorry about that.
Well, the food, like a lot of food stamps might not cover all of what they need, and also housing is like, there's not unlimited housing. A lot of people who are unhoused have to like go to shelters, and then they get kicked out of shelters because there's a mandatory stay limit. So it's not like you just get a house.
It's not a stuff thing, though, right? It's like if you need stuff, there's also tons of charities out there that can provide assistance, churches. You will not go hungry in this country. You will not starve in this country.
Yes, you will. There's
no, we have an obesity problem.
Street?
We have an obesity problem, not a starvation problem in this country.
What are you talking about?
In State Street, if any one of those people went to the local Episcopalian church or Methodist church, they will get fed. I guarantee it. If they go to a local food shelter, they will get fed.
Okay, but I'm talking, housing.
For housing. If we have Section 8 subsidized housing in this country, right? If you want to have a roof over your head, you can have a roof over your head.
With like thousands of rules, and you can't do anything.
Yes, of course, yes. I mean, it's not ideal, but the point is this. So let's just go back to the crime and necessity, right? Mm-hmm. So why do people commit crimes?
I'm not saying why all people commit crimes. I'm saying there are people who commit crimes because they have no other choice.
Here's a brilliant idea. Get a job or create one with whatever skills that you've developed up to that point in life. And I know not everyone watching reads the Bible or follows Jesus Christ, but in the book of Proverbs, it tells us that idle hands are the devil's workshop, meaning once you grow up to about 14, 15 years old, I know working age is different for other people in different countries. Some people are working at 6, 7, 8 years old. Here it's more like 14, 15, 16. But if you're sitting around at that point doing nothing with your life, that's no bueno. I'm not saying you got to have the ambition of an Elon Musk or a Steve Jobs, but fellas, we're called to be the protectors and providers. A man can't do that if he doesn't know how to legally make things happen and go and earn some money. When someone lacks a job, then that's just asking for bad things to happen at some point.
Got it. So why is it that other people that are as poor as they are in separate racial groups don't commit crimes at the same rates? For example, blacks are 13% of the population and they commit over 50% of the crimes. Why is that?
Black people, I would say, not blacks.
Okay,
but
it's not. I could say whites and you wouldn't care. So
anyway,
hold on. Right? I can say Hispanics, you wouldn't care. So don't police my language.
But whatever. I'm not policing your language. I'm just saying I would say black people.
Fair enough. But the insinuation is that I'm being racist. But that's fine.
Okay, that's your opinion.
Yeah, but black Americans are 13% of the population and commit anywhere between 50 to 56% of murders, crimes, carjackings. Why is that?
Well, what percentage of the white population is living in the same level of poverty?
Got it. So there's twice as many white Americans in poverty as black Americans. Not the same percentage, but still, if you look at white Americans in poverty, they commit far less crimes than black Americans in poverty. Why is that?
Maybe it's because when you're in a store, like they follow black people and they don't follow white people.
What about murder?
Rural?
No, but why is it that, like, just saying murder, why is it that black people commit so many more
White people
murders?
live in rural
Like, that's not, you're being followed in a store and you commit more murders?
Yeah.
You're making the role, or I'll get to you in a sec, but
Okay,
it's not,
anyway.
it's not a good argument. But let me just go back to one thing you said. Systemic
Whatever, you're
racism,
good.
right? So the idea of systemic is that it's
Yeah.
within our laws. There are some black Americans here listening. What can you as a white American do that the black American cannot do?
Let's see. I could go into a store and not get followed. The police could not track me down on, like, when I'm driving. I'm less likely to get shot and killed while I'm driving. There's a lot of things that I can do.
Okay, so just be clear. So if you walk into a local CVS here, how would you guys be treated differently?
Well, they would probably say hello, and they would probably just walk, let me in and not follow me, and then.
Now, I know that she's clearly oblivious to it, but the hot garbage being spewed out of her mouth right now, it sounds a bit racist to me. A whole lot of focusing on the wrong things instead of the real problems, the actual issues. And that's just a typical lefty way of doing things. Ain't it ironic, though, how it's always about race coming from the side that says it's not about race? Kind of moronic if we're keeping it real.
So these are a lot of probablys. I don't believe you, but I'm talking about laws, right? So what in the legal code of America can you as a white individual do that the black individual can't? Because systemic means it's in our code, right? It's for example, like Jim Crow, totally get it. That's systemic racism. What is systemically your advantage?
Maybe housing codes, because I know redlining isn't a thing anymore, but there is, isn't there people who are white are more likely to be given loans because of they have less I don't know, that's just it's back from redlining, it's a lot of the same stuff.
So I don't buy into any of that. So I just kind of go.
You don't buy into redlining, or you don't buy
into redlining. I don't buy any of that stuff that happens today. In fact, it's the opposite. Loans are now given favorably to black Americans in certain cities over white Americans.
Okay, but you think redlining?
I believe in. I know redlining existed. I don't debate that. Of course, I have. But because of DEI and because of affirmative action, there's actually a preference given. But so let's go back to fathers, right?
Okay, let's go back to fathers.
So something happened to black America since 1965. So in 1965,
you mean the war on drugs?
Right. Well, so if that's your contention, that's fine. So in order to go to jail for the war on drugs, you have to be dealing drugs, right? Or you have to be caught with drugs. So if you don't
which is one of the main jobs that you can have in a poverty-stricken. If there's no jobs, you're going to do drugs. I mean, you're going to trade drugs because that's the only option
you have. It's such a difference in worldview. You're making excuses for criminals.
Yeah.
And what an insult to poor immigrants that came to this country that didn't commit crimes and worked 2 or 3 jobs and worked themselves out of poverty and didn't decide to go deal coke.
Goodness gracious, these kids are always whining and crying in their feelings, but I'm sorry, sweetheart, feelings don't pay the bills. You know what does, though? Adding value to people's lives. That's what it should be all about. Get to know what hard work and responsibility looks like. We got to quit allowing this wokety-woke progressive culture to brainwash folks into believing that you have to have a certain melanin content to succeed. No. We are all part of the one human race that bleeds the same color red. Last time I checked, I bleed red. Do you bleed red? I'm sure you do. And if you're a legal American citizen, then you've got the same opportunity as the next man, the same 24 hours in a day to go earn a good living. If you deny that chance, then that's on you.
Well, my father is a white immigrant from Poland, and he committed crimes, and he's fine now. So.
Did he go to jail?
Yeah, he did.
I thought there was systemic racism. I thought that doesn't happen very much.
I never said white people don't go to jail. I said they go more, and you're saying that white immigrants are fine and they don't.
No, it's far less actually. I'm glad he went to jail if he committed a crime. I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
So, but
I'm not against having black dads.
For sure. I'm saying, but don't we agree? Has anyone heard that mentioned on the national scale in the last 10 years? Yeah, I mean, we've heard about
probably not.
Yeah, and
because there's bigger issues.
No, there isn't. See, that's the issue. Is that this is what makes us different. As a conservative, I focus on if you have family breakdown, don't worry about climate change. Don't worry about systemic racism. All that stuff is these crazy abstractions.
What do you think create family problems? Systemic racism creates family problems. If you take away black people from their families, then they're going to have broken families.
Okay, but that's interesting. How are you taking them away? Aren't they leaving? They're not staying with the women they're impregnating. So, for example, there are 13% of the population is black. Not every single person ends up in jail, obviously. And yet there's huge child abandonment because there's a cultural expectation that is different in black America than in white America, which is it's okay to impregnate a woman and abandon her in black America. It's not
based on what? What is that based on?
That's a good question. Where does it come from? It's just based on...
No, I'm saying what is that, like, your view of black America?
Well, it's not a view. It's true. I mean, don't take my word for it. Look at Thomas Sowell and Shelby Steele that have done amazing analysis on this. It's that in black culture, that is not considered to be a stigma. In white upper middle class culture, for those of you that grew up in Waukesha or Libertyville or grew up in Hinsdale or grew up in Naperville, you guys all know those neighborhoods. If you impregnate a girl, a woman, and you just like abandon her, that's frowned upon. That is a social stigma in upper middle class white culture.
And it's not in black culture?
No. In fact, it's glorified by the rap culture.
All right, y'all. Now, normally I would say that's gooder than chicken right there. But honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed by that girl's ignorance. And I feel kind of sad for her. At the same time, though, she at least seemed like she was actually listening to the wisdom that Charlie was dishing out instead of nonstop chin boogieing like we usually see these clueless college kids do on campuses. So hopefully she'll dry up from that woke brainwashing that either her parents or college has indoctrinated her into believing is reality. These overpriced daycare centers that masquerade as, educational facilities, they're not that. They tell kids what to think and not how to think. So pray for her, y'all, and pray for the tons of kids and the young adults and parents that are wasting their money, literally just burning dollar bills, sending their kids off to these 4-year daycare centers. That's what they are. And pray for Captain Kirk as well, because we need a whole lot more guys like him that tell the truth regardless of whose feelings get triggered. On top of wanting to make America great again, how about we make common sense common again? Amen. Now, as for the main subject of that debate where the girl was basically making excuses for criminals, we see it far too often in this race-obsessed culture. All these social justice warriors running around like a chicken with their head cut off, promoting anti-whiteism, and they try to guilt trip white people into making it seem like someone who's more tan than the next person is oppressed. Yet we've got DEI, or didn't earn it, as I like to call it. We got tons of other bogus things in place and things that give more of an advantage to minorities based on something that they had no control over in the first place. God purposely created each of us, male or female, in his image to glorify him, to love each other, and to do good works in the world. The Almighty don't make mistakes. So every feature and trait that we possess, it was intentional. Nobody is better than anybody, but everybody should be held accountable for their actions. If not here on earth, then come Judgment Day, I can promise you, all of us, and I mean every single one of us, we're going to have to give an account for the things that we've done. I don't care what you look like. If you decide to make poor decisions, you're not a victim. It's not racist for a police officer to conduct their job duties and have to defend themselves because the routine traffic stop got escalated by the person who was speeding or just straight up acting a fool. It's not a systemic issue that a lot of men, unfortunately, are cowards and run away from raising their kids or being a husband, putting a ring on it with the woman that they lay it down with. That's frowned upon by a lot of people in all cultures, not just black. So I kind of disagree with Charlie there at the end talking about the stigma in the black community. It is promoted in rap culture and all of that, but by no means do all black men get a woman pregnant and then leave them stranded. That would be a lie. But there's a lot of worthless sperm donors out here, and there's also a lot of great fathers, just not nearly enough of them, which is a big reason why we see all these sky-high crime rates in these inner cities and more women feeling like they have to step up and take on more responsibility. Hence why we see Kamala running to be the leader of the free world. That can be credited to men and fathers failing to do their jobs. We got a bunch of wimpy, simpy dudes running around in these streets and not handling business at home. We can also thank former President Lyndon B. Johnson for his role in separating families. Going all the way back to 1964, his idea of a great society was having mothers rely on daddy government to take care of them instead of the true way that God designed it to be, where that's the man's role. Before you have a kid, you're supposed to get married, two flesh become one, and you rely on each other to raise your children, to live righteously together, and you follow Jesus' commands. That's the ultimate goal and solution. But once the Democrat Party enticed women into believing that they didn't need us as men, we've seen how horrible of an impact that that's had on the entire world. That's why we need to keep exposing these deceptive race hustling schemes, keep showing people the truth, the one truth that there is. Just because you don't agree with something and like the way it makes you feel doesn't mean that it ain't the truth. You need to stop voting for these same old tired, dirty Dems and start voting for conservatives. Hopefully one day we can erase all these false ideologies that these Democrat policies have thrusted into these inner cities and low income communities. We need to bring masculinity back into homes and develop strong, bold men that are loyal to one woman and lead righteous lives for their families. Those are my prayers and what I'll keep fighting for wherever God allows me to do so. But I'll end on that note. I don't want to make this video an hour and a half long. It could easily go that way. When I get to ranting, I don't stop. I'm fired up. That's how we roll. If you like that, this is probably the channel for you. If you don't, then roll out, exit stage left. But I'd love to hear what y'all think about all this. So drop a comment below and let's keep this conversation rolling. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, ring the notification bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video. If you like what I'm doing over here and you want to show a little extra love and support, make sure you go check out our website down below in the description section. That way you can get all the awesome shirts that you see me wearing in every single video. They're all made by my smoking hot wife with tons of different designs to choose from. Sizes ranges from itty bitty extra small to big and hefty 5X. I'm sure we got something that you like or a great gift for someone that you love. Outside of that, you can always join the Gibson family here on YouTube and become a member by clicking that join button. You can buy me a coffee. You can join the Patreon family. All those links are down below as well. By no means do you have to do any of that. Just showing up and watching my freckle face on your screens for a few minutes, I'm greatly appreciative. I love y'all and I can't thank you enough for rocking with me throughout the years. Until next time, I'll be praying for you. Godspeed. I'm gone.